Alright guys, welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys just a little bit about starting off in the gym. Or getting started, one could say. So if you're already in the gym, if you're already consistent and got your own routine, maybe skip this video. Or maybe you could share it with one of your friends who you want to get into the gym. So, to begin off, or lead off with, you want to really go a little bit slower, right? Obviously, there's a lot of people around the New Year's Eve time who are like, you know what, I'm going to get in shape once this New Year's Eve, or this new year comes around. I'm going to drop all this weight, and I'm going to completely change my lifestyle and do all this and that. And that's great and all. They've got a raging hot fire burning in their soul, and they're so motivated to do all this work, but 9 times out of 10, they're going to get burnt out within 2 weeks. It's kind of a thing with the consistent gym goers, like I mentioned in a previous video, where it's like, New Year's time comes around and we're like, oh my gosh, the next 2 weeks, we are so screwed, right? Because the gym is so packed full of these new gym goers who we know are just going to be gone in the next 2 weeks because, like I mentioned before, their fire is burning so hot and furious that they just get burnt out and they can't upkeep with that lifestyle, that huge drastic change that they tried to put into their life, you could say. So, you really want to start off slow when you're trying to get into the gym. Not only to keep you into the gym, like I said, you don't want to lose all your motivation at the start, but you also really don't want to hurt yourself. For most of you guys, you've probably never been in the gym or you've been in it sparsely here and there. You really don't want to push yourself. For example, if you have a kid, 16-year-old driver, are you going to give them a Ferrari for their first car? Probably not, because you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to go crazy. That fire is going to be burning. And they're going to be like, I'm going to do all this crazy stuff with it, this crazy fast sports car. They're probably going to crash that vehicle, right? Because they have all this fire and tenacity with this crazy fast vehicle, right? If you give them a shitter car, like a junk trash box car that can only get up to like 50, 60 miles an hour, that's going to be a lot more reliable. They're going to know how to take care of that vehicle, and they're really going to take their time with it and treat it the way it should be treated, right? You don't want to jump into the water so quick and fast that you crash and burn that car, right? You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say there. So start off slow, not only to avoid injury, but also to stay consistent, like I mentioned in the last video, so you don't burn out. My third point is probably seeking guidance from a friend or coworker or anyone who you know is consistently in the gym. Regardless of whether their goals might be the same as you or not, they can just be helpful getting you just in the gym, right? Or at least being able to show you tips and tricks with certain machines, certain ways of exercising perhaps. So let's say your goal is to lose weight, right? Let's say you're a little overweight, a little obese. Maybe you want to shed some pounds, right? And you have a coworker in your office who runs marathons, right? Running isn't directly related to weight loss, but it sure could help. You might be able to get a couple tips and tricks from them or whatnot. And you know what? Maybe you don't want to run, but even your coworker who runs could still share a little bit of their motivations with you. What gets them up and going to go out and run every day, right? Or run every other day, whenever. Just seek out some advice or maybe some counseling from others who are already in the recreational activity space or physical activity space, I guess you could say. Even if it isn't related to what you want to do, you can still find motivations and different techniques from them that might be able to help you out, you know? Even though if it's not aligned, like I mentioned, with what you're really going for. So just seek out a kind of a social atmosphere. Even just work your way into a gym crowd. So for example, me getting into the gym when I was younger. It was mostly just kind of solo dolo stuff, but then I made some friends who were in the gym as well and said hello, and we're like, oh, hey, you work out, I've seen you here before, whatnot, and it just sparks up these kind of real lighthearted conversations. It's nothing too serious. You see them, you give them a wave or whatever when you're in the gym, and you know what? Sometimes that can blossom into beautiful friendship. Maybe one day you show up to the gym and you're not really sure what you're going to do, but you see your buddy over there who you wave at every now and then. You come up to him and you're like, oh, hey, what are you hitting today? And they're like, oh, I'm hitting legs. And you're like, oh, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do today. You mind if I join you for legs? I mean, unless they're a total jerk off, I mean, they should say yes, don't you think? I mean, I feel like the gym community is such a positive and accepting space, really. I mean, I'm sure it can be a little intimidating if you see these big muscular people, right? And you're like, oh, it's a little intimidating, you know? But I'll tell you, probably 9 out of 10 people who are in the gym are just having the best time. They're all sweethearts deep down. Everybody in there is nice. So don't be scared to approach someone in the gym, especially if they're the biggest guy. Usually the biggest guys are the biggest softies, from my experience. But yeah, so just seek out guidance, seek out a friend, just seek out any kind of social community you can in the gym, because that can also help keep you accountable and potentially teach you and show you some new things that you might not have known, you know? So moving along from that, kind of how could you say, like an honorable mention tip that I could throw out there is taking on a personal trainer. My recommendation for this would be taking on a personal trainer when you've already found yourself being consistent. I wouldn't say if you've never been in the gym before, don't get a personal trainer your first time in the gym. I think that's, me personally, I think that's a little backwards. I think you should get into the gym and really see if you really kind of enjoy. You just kind of want to have a basic understanding before you go into it and go looking for a personal trainer, right? Because they know so much about everything when it comes to the movements of the human body and everything like that. And they're more so for people who know what they want to get out of the gym, right? You approach a personal trainer and tell them what goals that you have, and they help you get to those goals. But if this is your first time in the gym and you don't really know exactly what you want, this is just my opinion. I don't think you should be approaching a personal trainer your first time in the gym. I think you should at least dip your toes in the water, see if it's right for you, just kind of feel it out, because it is a financial commitment once you take on a personal trainer, as well as a time commitment. So it's really up to you. That's just my 2 cents on the subject, but it's just a little honorable mention tip that I have for you new goers in the gym. So, and kind of branching off of that, for my final tip for this video is staying consistent. And I know I mentioned this before in the last video, but it is so freaking huge, guys. If you're not staying consistent in not only the gym, but anything you're passionate about in life, there's someone out there who is staying consistent, and they are getting better every day. Why can't that be you, right? Why can that not be you? You got one shot at this life, so don't give it a half-ass shot. You know what? You should pursue what you really want to pursue, love what you really want to love, and just chase those passions with everything you got. And staying consistent in the gym is huge if you want to see results. Seriously. Like I mentioned before at the start of this video, you want to start off slow. You don't want that fire to just burn out, right? Kind of a weird analogy for this, but let's say you've got a certain amount of, so you're out in the woods on a cold winter night, and you only have this specific amount of wood, and you need to survive through the night. Are you going to burn it all at once, have this huge bonfire, and then you're going to be out of wood for the rest of the night after the first hour? Yeah, sure, you're going to have this big, huge, honking fire, and you're going to be so warm and toasty. You're going to be all good for that first hour, but once all that wood's burnt out, you're screwed. You're going to freeze to death in the woods. Some beast's going to come attack you in the dark because you can't see him. If you... the word's escaping me. If you kind of manage your wood... Shoot, what am I can't think of the word. But if you slowly use that wood, piece by piece, if you budget your wood, that's still not the right word I'm thinking of. But if you budget that wood throughout the night, just little sticks to keep the fire rolling, you can still have a fire all night. Sure, it might not be this huge honking big fire you had at the start, or you could have had for that first hour, but you're going to make it through the night with light, heat, and fire, right? That's, I guess, the analogy I'm trying to make. It's kind of a silly analogy, but I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say here. You can't just totally burn out, give all your energy all at once. It's not a good way to approach the gym or any goal you want to stay consistent with or achieve. You want to add those little pieces of wood. Keep adding them. Sure, you can throw a big log in there every once in a while, but man, you gotta keep that fire rolling. You don't want that fire burning out. Guys, that's it for this video. Sorry for yapping so much. I do that quite a bit when I'm in front of the camera. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.